Okay guys, so today we're going to be installing some rough country leveling springs on a 1997 Ford Ranger. This is four-wheel drive, so here are the springs. I think they're supposed to be about 1.5 or 2 inches of a lift compared to stock, so I don't know how big these tires are on here, but if you have a look, you can see the gap in the front between the top of the tire and the wheel arch compared to the back is pretty significant. So we're going to be addressing that today. And on this side it's even more obvious. So some stuff you're going to need: a jack, obviously. You're going to need a wheel wrench, the springs, spring compressors. You can rent them from your local parts store if you don't want to buy them. A socket set and something to kneel on if you have bad knees like me. So that's something I highly recommend is if you have bad knees, don't just kneel on the ground, guys. I mean, like, you're just going to cook your knees even more. I'm 21 and I've got bad knees, so that's pretty bad for my age, but it is what it is. So let's get this done. Okay, so another thing that I recommend is, you don't have to, but if you use lifting straps, and sort of how they work is you can wrap your straps around here, pull them tight, and then your grip is not a limiting factor. That can help you, because essentially this lug nut here was way too tight for me to undo. Now, think of it like this, right? Your grip, your forearms, is going to be the limiting factor. You can lift way more than you can physically grip. So essentially, if you take the grip aspect out of it with these, you can undo a lot of lug nuts that you can't do without them. So that's just a tip, guys. Okay, also, if it's not obvious already, you want to crack these bolts loose before you jack it off the ground, because the wheel's just going to spin if you try and do that when it's off the ground, so don't make that mistake. Okay, so the wheel is off, the car is jacked up off the ground. So I would say the hardest part about all this is that bolt in there holding the spring on can be extremely rusty. So you're probably going to need a heat torch of some sort. This is just a heat gun. So what I did is I heated that up, and then it was too stuck on there to get off with a regular ratchet. So I have this breaker bar here. Now you're going to need this bad boy right here. So I'm unsure of what size this is. Just let me put that down there. This is a 1 1/8 deep well, otherwise it will not go on there. You're going to need an extension and a breaker bar. I only put one spring compressor on here because that was almost able to pull off itself without the other one. I don't recommend doing this unless you I don't recommend doing that unless it's already only needs compressed like a little bit in order to pull it off. But I just had to get it a little bit more compressed. You pull it to the side and you go in from the top. Now these little metal compressors in there, those were on the truck when I bought it, so I'm not too sure what their purpose is, but don't put them on there. You're gonna need to rent some spring compressors and get a breaker bar in order to get that bolt off, so then the spring can come out and we'll go from there. Okay, so with the help of the spring compressors, you have the new rough country springs in. Now, in case you guys were wondering, if you grab the new rough country springs and compare them to the old ones, they're about that much bigger. So probably about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. I'm just undoing these. We'll go to the next side. Okay guys, so here's how it sits now. You can tell there's definitely a difference. It's not super noticeable, but it's probably about 1.5 inches taller at the front now, which the back is still crazy high. I don't know what the previous owner did, but that's not stock height. Ignore the bumper at the front. I did that. I won't get into how, but that needs to be fixed. Now, I don't know if you guys can tell on camera or not, but you might need to get a wheel alignment. In my case, I do, because it had negative camber before, and now it has slight positive camber. So I would recommend getting that done. Now, you don't have to get it done right away, but it's definitely a recommendation. If you guys have any other video ideas, just let me know. You'll be seeing this on the channel a lot more in the future. So yeah.